for 9, draw a card.
Well, that's a damn good reason to go off the range. And we are getting started here. We're getting the show on the road, and we start with an Athena's Knight from Miles. We have a Portal Barrier, a Haunted Past or whatever, and a Team K as a form.
Yeah, you don't see that too often, but it does have an ability in your staging area. It amplifies your breaker rating by discarding a card, and probably more importantly, you can reveal your hand and get up to +4 damage if you have a bunch of foundations.
And there's Athena with that, that staging area advantage. Well, that was a risky move there. You could have checked a 2.
Well, hey,
you did have
playing a
3
3 on your
cards,
first form, you've already got 2 ready. You could have checked a pair of 2s on this string of 3 dips.
Do you play one more here?
Very
I
safe.
would. I think I would. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fine play there.
Yeah, you commit 1, you get 1 ready. It's completely even trade-off. It's a little bit scary here if. Well, no, I'm not too scared if I'm Ryan here. Even if Miles draws 3 attacks or 4 attacks, he can probably pass control checks for them, but they'll be very small. He doesn't have a lot of damage pumps, or bases damage reduction effects get doubled up. But we are seeing.
And you'll start by checking a 3 on a Rocket Buster. So a breaker block could be really good here right now for Athena.
Yep, that costs 2 foundations. I feel like we've seen a lot of this kind of. Game 1 goes one way, game 2, the person who's down a game gets off to some rough luck. You got a 3 build and then a relatively useless Team K, and this deck could very well just run into a lock. Leave him in very rough shape.
Now, Miles does have a Team K in his hand as well. That may explain why he played the first one.
Oh, absolutely. You absolutely play that on turn 1 there. I think that's a great play. Play it on the 5. It doesn't matter much to you if it passes or if it fails.
Look at Ryan Pham looking at Team K, because he's probably wondering, what the hell does this thing even do in your staging area?
Is he getting ready to reveal his hand? The way he's holding it makes me think he's going to drop it on the table.
And be like, blah! And he's got 4 foundations in his hand. That's +4 damage, and now we're kind of...
Please block me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of like, you gotta block.
That's the ultimatum, really. All right, we're seeing Ryan kind of telling him, I am going to block. He's using Dust in the Wind on the speed pump from Rocket Buster, turning that +1 into a -1. Now it's at 3 speed. A +3 block will let him fully block it, and almost very close to guaranteed.
I think if he's got a leaf shield here, I think you're gonna block with that.
You would if he has any breaker block. I might even happily take half damage from this thing just to try to screw over Ryan.
Base aborted his attack.
That's a smart play. That's a great play for Miles.
What is going on here?
Yeah, so base just aborted his attack. You can play bases enhance during an attack, which is by discarding itself. You still get the effect, but then the enhanced step ends. You don't go to the block step, you don't go to the damage step. And because Ryan used that Dust in the Wind, it was slowed down. He said, this isn't worth running into you. I'd rather take your card out of your hand.
Right.
And now he's going to try to get this somersault kick in there.
For some reason, in my mind, I thought you had to have one preceding it to use base.
Nope. You're allowed to discard anything you want. It just immediately ends, effectively.
Now, hopefully Pham has another breaker block in his hand.
Yeah. That was a really heads-up play from Miles, because he clears out the progressive difficulty and prevents Ryan from playing a breaker block.
But Miles could just be getting some free damage here, and he does. He's going to take 4 damage? 5?
Yeah.
6?
Okay, I don't know what's happening now, because if he played Somersault Kicks Enhance, that face down in Ryan's staging area should be in his card pool now. But play is continuing, so Miles gets a pretty good build. He got a solid 6 damage poke. Can't be too sad about that. And then he got 2 good defensive foundations. So he's got double Portal Barrier once he readies his board up, as well as 4 damage worth of Athena's Knight and 8,000 Degrees. So Ryan's in a decent spot. He's got equal foundations to Miles, now ahead thanks to Athena's first F, and he's got a lead.
Do you try to get in there right now? I mean, Pham doesn't know that Miles has a breaker 2 block in his hand.
If I'm Athena, I want my game plan is to win with one big turn, rip my opponent's hand completely apart, and have Slaughterhouse pump up all my moves. I'm not playing pokes. I'm here to win in one big explosive turn. And I don't have nearly enough of a staging area to go for that explosive turn right now.
Let's go back to last turn real quick, because they're talking about in our chat, about that was a weird turn.
Sure.
I think that was, I agree with you. I think that was a heads-up play by Miles. Miles only had 1 ready foundation left. And I think Pham had forecasted, I'm blocking here because I'm using my Dust in the Wind. And a breaker block would have made sure Miles could not attack safely the rest of the turn. Because he would have been playing on a 6 with 2 foundations up as character and his foundation. And without base, most of his attacks are just garbage without base's ability. So I think Miles made a pretty heads-up play. I think the turn seemed weird as a result. Weird, but not necessarily wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when like a 6-hand size aggro character has to be willing to look for kind of weird lines, doing things in unorthodox ways. He pushed in 6 damage, and he got a pretty good build. He probably didn't have much more to build it with than that. If he had a Team K, and now he say he's got another attack that he wants to block with, his staging area was almost tapped down, and when you have a 3 attack hand, you gotta play some of those attacks and then build your foundations that you do have.
So let's see what happens now. Ryan fans gotta be wondering, maybe is this a time to get in and get some easy damage with Miles only having 3 foundations? But all 3 of those foundations.
That is a slaughterhouse. Oh my god. Are we going for the turn 2 kill out of Athena?
I don't think Athena's going to be able to get through that +2 breaker block that awaits him.
Yeah. We got a Silent Assassin
activation.
Ooh, there might not be a breaker block
shot
left.
It's still there.
Alright. Team K is in, and that's action is removed from game pile. If Ryan's going for this, he might just have another Athena or a Silent Assassin to completely rip
then we might want
his hand.
And then barring bad checks.
Well, it'll be tough to count to 26 with this small of a staging area, though. Even with he actually has to count to 30 plus portal barrier activations. Really. So
this might just be an opportunity just to get some damage.
He might just be going in for. Yep, he's pumping the Immortal Knowledges, and it looks like he's just going to send it in.
And of course, he's going to block with that breaker 2 block.
Absolutely. Tap base, tap either 8,000 degrees or portal barrier. It's hard to say here.
I think you tap portal barrier here. With that breaker 2, Ryan Fam's not going to be playing many more attacks this turn. Yeah. I would tap the portal barrier to get more damage reduction from my buck.
Maybe,
right?
Yeah.
Now,
I think the argument to attacking Athena's Knight is that if Ryan does go for another attack here, which he shouldn't, I think, from our point of view, but maybe he does, it's not going to kill you, and you'd rather have that Athena's Knight face up in the future.
Right. Yeah, he was not. I don't think he was expecting that breaker 2 block there. So now Fam's got to make some decisions, and I think the decision here is you got to build and pass.
Yeah. Now you went from I think pretty clearly in the lead despite being down by a lot of vitality. You have 7 cards. You've got a bigger staging area already, and your opponent doesn't have a lot of really powerful things going on. Now you've just thrown away a very crucial piece of your offense in the Silent Assassin. You've got a progressive difficulty and plus 3 difficulty the next card you try to play. You might be committing out some of your foundations, and you're not going to be ahead on foundations for much longer.
Yeah, this would have been a much different situation if he had another Silent Assassin in his hand, or the 50-50 had been in his favor.
Yeah. If Miles had only had a +3 low block hanging out, there would definitely be some damage coming on this board.
But we are waiting to see what he's going to do. I think here, if you have a 1 difficulty foundation, you play it.
Looks like he's thinking about just playing a Drumafay into that breaker 2 and having to tap up to 3 foundations if he checks badly. Up to 4 even. We've got a mathematician coming out. Needs a 5, checks a 3. So
he taps those face downs, which I don't think is incorrect. I mean, those Immortal Knowledges aren't very good on his turn.
Now, Sean, what do you think about the matchup overall here? Who do you think is the favorite? Who do you expect to win? Given equal play, equal luck.
Equal play, equal luck. I actually would give it to base.
Yeah.
I think the longer the game goes, the more it favors base. Because if Athena's caught twice with the wrong blocks in her hand.
Yep. Yeah, she's definitely dancing on the knife's edge. We're
Miles
seeing
answers
a
with his
coming
own
right
slaughterhouse.
So there's going to be a million damage coming in here. If Miles drew enough attacks off the top here, he drew 6 cards clean off the top right now. If we see, he's pumping up the 8,000 degrees here.
He pumped down, remember, and used base's response.
Yeah, so this slaughterhouse coming in as a 6 mid for 6.
6 mid for 6.
Those just joining us, we're on game 2 right now. Ryan is leading, and also, he ran into a brutal attack turn, ran into a Team K with his lead-off slaughterhouse on turn 2, and now we're coming completely the other way.
All right, and he is going to take 6 damage.
All right, so now the next attack is going to get pumped by 8,000 degrees. Base's Enhance is going to start tearing up Ryan's hand. If he does continue attacking, this might just be a 6-speed poke.
Miles has 3 attacks in his hand.
Oh my god.
This is going to be a slaughterhouse turn.
Yep. This might be we might be seeing game 3 now, and having Ryan get to go first. But it's up to Miles to actually slam the door here. All right, do you hear anything the players are saying?
They're kind of thinking back and forth as to what they're going to do.
All right.
Miles, I think, is in the tank right now trying to figure out what's the most efficient way to play the attacks in his turn. Now, Miles just declared his next attack is going to get -1, which my understanding is he doesn't have to declare that until the next attack is played.
Yeah,
that is a common misconception about 8,000
This is
degrees.
kind of a subtle how the rules work kind of thing. Effectively, the entire effect kind of is floating and waiting to happen. And so the next attack gets plus or -1. That's the effect that's out there. So until the next attack actually happens, that plus or -1 doesn't kind of come down in reality. And we see a 2-check.
That is a game changer here in the benefit of Ryan Pham.
Yep. So we went from 4 attack hand, probably a big favorite to win with good control. But 5 foundations is not enough to keep you insulated from these control checks. He could just check well now, but if he gets another bad control check, he might just fail his turn and
let's see.
Have to pass
Ryan
back.
Pham does put a slaughterhouse into his card pool. If Pham has a leaf shield here and is able to pass the block, that is a big change.
Yep, the breaker 1 is going to be some big stuff. All right, now we're
he
seeing
does have to
the
get a
come
face down
the
into his card pool.
Yep.
Does Miles even try to pump the speed here? Can he pump the speed here?
He's got no speed pumps. He's got Team K for damage, Athena's Knight for 1 damage if he really wants to.
It's for 8 damage.
But this
Pham
is
has to block, and he has to block with a
effectively
lion
must
buddy.
block. Yep. All right, so we do not see a breaker block, and Ryan's gonna have real trouble blocking this next one. But all right, thanks to a 5 check, thanks to Team K dash, we can have enough damage, or Athena's Knight will put it up to the 7 that'll be lethal. We're gonna have to see if Ryan can muster a very good block modifier here to lock up this block step.
Now, do you use Athena's ability here to get your face to turn one of your face down committed foundations
into a ready foundation? You absolutely do if you can. This is block or die. But we get 1 more damage.
But if he doesn't have another foundation in his hand, Athena's ability is pointless here.
All right, we see Team K adding in the damage.
Silent Assassin.
A Silent Assassin and a Revoke, so he could revoke Athena's E.
This is a bad spot for Ryan Pham to be in.
So it's a 3-speed attack. He's got 3 cards in his card pool and 3 ready foundations. It's up to his block modifier against the top of his deck in effect here.
Yeah, he needs a 5 or a 6 check,
a 0
and
block,
a 1 or a 0 block.
A 0 block he could pass on a 3, but tap out his whole staging area. But if he's got as bad as a +2 block, he can live with a 5 check. If he only has a +3, he's gonna need a 6,
which he does run.
We saw it twice on his kill turn last game.
But I think he's going to try to block with that.
Did we just see a leaf shield?
He does have a leaf shield in his hand, and that's...
What a champ. We need a 5.
That's a 3. That's it. Game 3. All right, let's move on to Game 3. Kevin Broberg, what did you think of that game?